Welcome everybody to another panel discussion of 3AI Spectra 2025. Today's topic is about building agentic AI, what it takes to build a reliable, scalable, and safe agentic AI system at an enterprise level. To discuss this, we have three eminent panelists. We have Priti Sharma, who is the Director Analytics at Populo, responsible for managing all the analytics around digital signage and employee communication product, which are being used across 5,000 global customers. So welcome, Priti. We have Mr. Rishi Sheth, who is the Senior Director of Fractal and responsible for all the growth and strategic initiatives at APAC and Middle East GCCs. Welcome, Rishi.
Hello.
And at the end, we have Ricky Shenoy, who is the Commercial Operation and Analytics Leader in Austria. Welcome, Ricky. Awesome. So and myself, I am Bishwajit. I'll be the moderating the panel. I'm the Senior Director of Kenview, which is the consumer product arm of Johnson & Johnson, and leading the AI and GenAI those initiatives. So let's get to the topic. So our first question, which we want to discuss today, will be that I'm sure that most of us are, or rather all of us are, building agentic AI systems. So what are the technical challenges we are facing in designing an agentic AI system? So I'll start off with Priti.
Thank you, Biswajit. And hi, everyone. So as agentic AI has been the buzzword, I would say, for a couple of months now, right? So that's what brings the technical challenges. The entire technology is new. There is no standardization or standardized enterprise-grade framework. So everybody is trying to do their bit. There is a lot of experimentation. Everybody is doing everywhere, be it Microsoft, OpenAI, and so many other open source communities. So what we have seen is, with not much standardization, the issues which are coming in is agentic communication exchange. Everybody is using different protocols. We do have some mandated protocols, but yeah, it's not a standard yet, I would say. So that is a challenge. Other challenge which we have seen is in agentic AIs is to integrate to systems, get data, talk to each other. Now, connecting to legacy is a challenge. Legacy was never created for AI. So that has been a challenge. And these always give different types of issues. Like maybe, you would have heard there is a loop detected problem, which many people have started to face. So we are facing those issues. Other thing is the non-deterministic nature of AI. Scaling and making it autonomous, it is very difficult to predict in different scenarios how the agentic AI system is going to work. And having a control in this is pretty difficult. So that is a challenge we all are facing. And needless to say, with AI, why these are bigger challenges? Because AI amplifies these issues since it has such a big data. It is all about data. And then it is, I would say, it is very prone to cyber attacks and the data becoming non-compliant. And when things are running autonomous, having a control on it and being very, very vigilant, it is a tough challenge, I would say. I think I would close here, Biswajit.
Sure, Priti. Thanks a lot. Ricky, over to you. So what are the challenges you are facing in your organization?
So I would reframe the question a little bit. It's not about technical challenges. Technology-wise, AI is great. It understands a lot of things. It's very easy to, provide the data and train the models and all. The main challenge which we face while designing agentic AI systems is figuring out what is going to be, the structure, the system design according to the organization that we are going to serve. So I can talk about life sciences where I work. I've worked all my career. There is an inherent domain complexity barrier. What do I mean by domain complexity barrier? Is that in life sciences, there is a certain way everything has been done. It's the most regulated industry. And, when when humans only are interacting with one function to another, there is so much complexity. With agentic AI coming into the picture, it becomes infinitely more difficult to explain, okay, whatever the agents are going to do autonomously, that's going to be reliable, that's going to be repeatable, and that's going to something that will adhere to the regulations. So that's something that we are working on. We are starting small. We are figuring out, okay, how do I take the low hanging fruits first, where there is low risks involved, and then build it up slowly and steadily. So I think the challenges that we are facing in designing the agentic AI systems is, we all want to go fast, we all want to build big, but we have unless we start small, we will not be able to build on top of it. So I think that's where my experience has been in designing the agentic AI systems that I have worked with so far. That's from my side.
Great, Ricky. So, Rishi, from a company like a Fractal, right, which is a service provider, so what kind of technical, or as Ricky mentioned, that it may not be technical always. So, what are the challenges you are facing in terms of agentic while building an agentic AI system?
Yeah, thanks. No, great to be part of this panel. And as rightly mentioned by Ricky, it's not always necessarily about technical. Uh, and we also don't consider it as a challenge. For me, it is more about an opportunity. And the thing over there is that when we are thinking about agentic AI, the more important part is that are we also thinking about the entire process, which possibly needs to be redesigned, right? Because at the end, industry is talking about agentic AI, which can make things faster, more efficient. But if you continue to look at agentic AI from the same process perspective and you just try to make it bit more efficient, much more faster, okay, you might achieve 20%, 30%, 40% efficiency. But that is where not the real power is. The real power is, can you, looking at the business objective, think about a new way to solve the problem, and that's how the agent comes together as a team, right, and try to help you solve that problem. So the first opportunity or a challenge is looking at the problem without any prior experience or bias, or that this is how it was done. So think about it, there is an objective, and how now you have the right agents or a team to solve it. I think that's first opportunity. Second is, it's also not we one challenge is that, like any new thing, when it comes up, everyone wants to use it, right? And you want to bring in the level of make it more autonomous, but you need to be very conscious about the fact that if there is a high impact, low frequency kind of an activity, maybe there is no need to use agentic AI over there. Realize where the impact is more, and you are making a decision once a quarter or once a year. For such decisions, don't use it. You, if there is something, some kind of a decision or task where there is a very high frequency and low impact in terms of a credibility, in terms of the potential risk, that is where you try to bring it the agentic AI and make it autonomous, right? And so I think trying to work with the stakeholders and really help in identifying which are the areas where you should really use agentic AI is the second discussion opportunity, or the challenge, the way you want to call it, is happening. And third is, wherever it's a sequence of predefined activities, I think still agentic AI is fine. But the moment it becomes a bit complex, right? The moment it has become non-sequential, you have to, as a team, you need to decide. When I say a team of agents, you need to decide what can be the potential scenarios. The more scenarios come into picture, I think that's where it is becoming difficult as of now. But I'm sure that this will also be solved in coming months. So that's my starting point.
Great point, Rishi. And now Ashok has joined. So let me quickly introduce Ashok first, and I'll jump into the question. So hey, Ashok, good evening. So Ashok is the head of analytics and insight for The Economist, and welcome to the panel, Ashok. So Ashok, I wanted to understand that, okay, what are the main challenges what you have faced while implementing some of these agentic AI solution in your industry? We talked about technical challenges, we have talked about adoption, we talked about even how to drive it. So anything from your end would be very beneficial.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Sujit. Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be joining here with this esteemed panel. So yeah, I think agentic AI is really talk of the town for last few months, and obviously like most of us here, we have been trying to get the hands dirty and bring in efficiencies and productivity in our organization. I think I think Rishi also kind of touched upon the business challenges. Not try to fit in agentic everywhere, but at the same time, it does provide benefits if you use it properly. Um, Talking about specific challenges, what we have faced from a technology perspective is really API. So, for example, we have a lot of data systems in our organization, CRM systems, digital analytics behavior systems, data warehouse, data lakes, and everything. So the volume of data is pretty huge, and here we are talking about real-time interactions of these data points in the kind of tech stack which has not been upgraded accordingly as per the Gen AI requirements. Now, when I say that specifically, the challenges around API interfaces, the API interfaces in the middleware have never been designed to, take inputs in say textual format or natural language format. That has been a challenge, but obviously some of the emerging companies have tried to handle this. But I think to get our the tech stack where it is now, to upgrade it is a bit of a challenge to in the middleware where APIs can work smoothly with different kinds of inputs being thrown into it. So that has been a challenge. Obviously, we are trying to find solutions in house and looking for partners as well. But yeah, I think we'll get there with the right sort of solutions in place. Um, in terms of the outputs coming out here, we are also talking about multi-agent systems, which are not necessarily kind of well designed to speak to each other from day one. Uh, what that means is you're talking about high latency times as well, because of different layers coming, additional layers coming into the system. Now that is another kind of challenge we have faced, and it really if you talk to the tech architects in the organizations, it is kind of a pain point. But but at the same time, it is kind of interesting that this is the way forward, and how do we tackle those challenges. On one hand, you have your legacy systems, and you're trying to upgrade as well with some of the new use cases coming in. So I think those two are the issues we have faced so far from a challenge perspective.
Great. Thanks, Ashok. I think this is a good time to segue into our next topic, right? Because I think over the years, given the fact that I've spent this 18, 19 years into this AI industry, uh, alignment of AI's goal with the organizational goal has always been a challenge, right? And so I think, so my question to you guys is basically how do you ensure that there is an alignment between the agentic AI goals with the organizational objectives? So how do you ensure? So Rishi, if you can get started on this particular point.
Sure, Biswa, thanks. And I think this is one of the core themes that any enterprise is looking at, right? That what AI is doing, and in this case, what Agentic AI is doing, how is it aligned to the overall organization's value system, goals, and objectives? And my simple take on that is like what you do when a new team member joins a team, right? There is always an induction period, a contextualization period where you have to seed in the values of the organization, the ethos of the organization, right? The larger purpose towards which the organization is working, right? Because everyone is coming from an outside perspective, many times fresh out of college, but they need to get that context. They need to understand the organization history, right? And then what, as an organization, you want to achieve. So when we are looking at an agentic AI, just treat it as a new team member who is joining the team. And we know that even when we are doing a simple prompt with chat gpt, the importance of context, right? What it has already read, what you have interacted with them. So similarly, what is the overall context? I think in the agentic AI parlance, you need to ensure that you feed that, and then you need to teach, and I'll talk maybe in 10 seconds how to teach that, but you need to teach what are the organization values, right? What are the core objectives? And the so treat it like a new team member joining the organization. And the way to do it is you have to sometimes do some hard coding in terms of what cannot be done, right? Things like you cannot share the privacy, you cannot know the PII information about your clients to anywhere outside the world, right? If you are from a procurement perspective, you are creating an agent from procurement to help the procurement team or to procure something. You obviously you need to ensure that you are getting the best quality at a cheaper price, but there are certain things that you will do a check that if the labor laws are being taken care of, right? There is no child labor in that particular organization from whom you are buying. It might be the cheapest. So those kind of things need to be hard coded, as an engineer, and how to do it. And that's where I would say is that there needs to be a reward system when an engineers are creating the agentic AI, right? You need to reward those engineers, recognize those engineers, celebrate those engineers, so that there is a, because these things needs to be coming from within, right? And you need to inspire people to move into that direction. So customer satisfaction is more important than short-term profits. So such things, and you need to hard code it so that the decisions that an agent is taking, and when there are, I was just referring to some complex scenarios when such decisions are to be made between option A and option B, even if option A is more expensive, but as long as it is adhering to the company charter or the company principles, it's okay. And third part is that when you are starting the deployment, always do the shadow mode deployment, right? What it means is that for a similar thing, you have a team of humans who's making a decision versus a team of agents which is taking a decision. And like we do in any transition, there is always a shadow period, right? And then you try to compare whether the decision made by agents is same or similar to the decision made by the human teams, right? And over a period of time, you know where it's same and where are the gaps, and then you try to correct those gaps. So that shadow deployment period, be it 1 month, 3 months, and you really try to compare it with your organization, as if your team was working. So I think these are few things which we need to take care of, and to ensure that the larger values, the larger objectives of organization are sacred.
Thanks, Rishi. I'll now go to Priti. Priti, the thing is that, obviously, as we know that agentic AI needs budget, good amount of budget, right? Now, if our agentic AI's goals are not matched with basically the organizational goal, there is always a difficulty in getting the budget. So how exactly you guys are doing it in Popular to ensure that you are getting a right amount of budget?
So, Popular is an AI first company. So a couple of years ago, they became mobile first, and now they are AI first. So we have a R&D budget, which is given to us. And so we have a team who is doing the R&D, and we have the POCs or the tests which are being done. They are then added into our, we have two big products, which is the digital signage and email communication, which is given to customers. We have some Fortune 100 companies also as our customers. So then it is progressed on. So what we usually do is whatever has been tested, it is decided that this is going to move to this particular product, and then we have a ROI which is connected to it. So there is a forecast, or I say a calculation which is done that this particular AI solution is going to give us this benefit. We have guardrails put in place, and the use cases which are identified are then connected to smart KPIs, that this is the value. Basically, this is going to increase our customer satisfaction by 2%. Or this is going to increase the sales of our digital signage product by X%. So that is what has been done. And there is a tracking mechanism which has been put in place. Every month, we have our NPS, and we have another assessment, a survey which we do with our customers to keep a check of whether our AI solution, which has already been shared with our customers, is giving the value. So we've put some guardrails and checkpoints in place, and then this initial, the R&D money, and then it goes into the product money. So that is what is utilized, and we do their implementations. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, Priti. I think tracking the KPIs and obviously establishing the KPI and the tracking are two very, very important components, right? So I'll go to Ashok now, and then followed by Ricky. Yeah,
But
yeah.
add on this one, I think there is one thing which we have seen is, apart from tracking the value, there is a context drift which we have seen happening at times, and with that we have to do an assessment of how much of resources we are using, because many things are LLM based and our costs shoot up very fast. So that is something we are trying to keep it tight and put some dashboards out.
Got
Sorry, I had to.
it. Sure, no problem. Ricky. Yeah, so I'll go to Ashok and then followed by Ricky. That how exactly it's happening in your respective organizations.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chip. I think it's kind of good segue into uh, just a few examples in my organization. Um, so obviously, whenever we sit together with the business leaders, um, as kind of the head of analytics, my role is to kind of solutions where it makes a lot of sense. Now, it is that conversations are not easy, and I like to share with my audience here is, the ROI always comes up with business leaders. As Preeti mentioned, these things are not cheap. Even if they are out of work solutions from say one of your already providers like CRM and etc. etc. So the way we are progressing this is the benefits and putting our financial hats on is immediate benefits and what we call lifetime value coming out of these initiatives. I think so. For example, if we want to do outreach in an agentic way to our prospects and leads into the system, that's as a actually a use case in my organization. We are trying to do that, and say 6 months down the line, how much revenue we are able to make out of it, and we gain an opportunity against our competitors. I think that's the very detailed way of looking at the business metrics and achieve goals for organization, in a very financial led way. That's what we have been doing here.
Great. Thanks, Ashok. Ricky, over to you.
So my esteemed co-panelists have covered a lot financial aspect as well as a few technical aspects. I'll just reinforce and add a couple of points. One is that to ensure alignment between the AI agent's goals and the organization's objectives, what we look to do is we have integrated robust verification frameworks. Like just like when coding started, there was a quality assessment team which always used to ensure that the code is doing what it's supposed to do. We are doing the same thing with AI agents by having human oversight and continuous error checking. And the second thing that we look to do is conduct extensive simulation testing, so that even when in our regular work we are not seeing anything going wrong, but we create simulations and test scenarios that test the boundary of okay whether there is alignment in the agent's goals and the organization's objectives or not. So I think these two steps we are focused on to ensure that the AI agents doesn't deviate from what it was supposed to be doing.
Got it, Ricky. No, so these are very, very great points. I think we talked about the challenges right at the beginning, and then we now understood that how we are aligning the organizational objectives with the agentic AI goals. So let's move on to the third and the last part. And if you guys can quickly touch base, maybe spend just 1 minute, given in the interest of time, that what are the lessons you have learned while deploying the agentic AI at scale, especially around say monitoring, governance, and also these human in loop systems. So Ricky, over to you if you can get started, and just quickly
Sure.
1 minute maybe.
Sure. So first thing is that what we have seen is that creating an agent is very easy, and you can create agents for almost everything. So what we have seen is that if we create too many agents, it leads to a lot of task splitting, and then it leads to a lot of communication overhead, like who is doing what, and there is also conflicting outputs. So I think what we have learned is that okay, simplify it, use one agent for one task and see how it goes, and then build on top of it. Like I said in the first question itself, start small then build on top of it. The second one is that we have found that decentralized systems are more vulnerable to data security issues. So we need a centralized system. We should not leave agents decentralized, like, okay, one agent is working independently from another. We need a centralized oversight that ensures that there is alignment and security is not compromised. And then the third one, I think Rishi touched upon, and I would like to add on top of it, is that it is very difficult to just augment the current organization structures and systems with AI, because the current systems were designed for humans and not for AI. So we need to redesign, really think about how we would be integrating AI. And where to start from is start from the accountability, and start from the fact that, okay, if something goes wrong, how do we assign the accountability? How do we make sure that it gets fixed, and who gets to fix it? So I think that's something that we look at now, after doing a lot of POCs. And the next agentic AI project that I would be working on, I'll be taking these lessons going forward. Thanks.
Brilliant, Ricky. Ashok, over to you. If you can highlight some of the key learnings and the takeaways.
Yeah, I'll again give a kind of functional view with a touch on business aspects of it. Whenever we have these kind of projects going live or even POC stage, it's important to have guardrails in place. And there are a few key important items. Again, audience should make a note of this. Is content safety. We should be able to block harmful, toxic, and unethical content, going into these systems, because you design it, you kind of move forward, proceed with other project, but you need to keep an eye on, these things, content safety, topic control. It should, the scope of the agent should be defined and, properly documented, that this is what it is supposed to do and should not, kind of deviate from what is it is designed to do. And then the explainability, if we observe that agents are giving certain kind of output, how do we explain that, why it is behaving in a certain fashion? Now there are different techniques in out there to kind of measure the explainability, but that's another very important aspect of agentic AI systems. And it would become, as we have been hearing about overall AI, this would be much more looked upon by not just business leaders, but even in politics space as well, that how do they regulate this emerging space.
Got it. Thanks, Ashok. Rishi, if you can summarize your learning so far in developing the agentic AI system quickly, that would be really beneficial to the audience.
Sure. I think some of the obvious ones Ricky and Ashok covered, right, in terms of tracking any deviation or trying to compare it with the actual outcomes versus the outcome that you got. So, but one thing I have learned is, this is the work that we have done, is that the human part, the behavioral science part is key. That is a key lesson. And I'll tell you a very small example, right? There was a recent research which was done where the diagnosis, so you were given an agentic AI system to do a diagnosis, then there was a specialist doctor, and then there was a doctor plus agentic AI combination. And the intent was just to quickly check which will do the diagnosis to the maximum accuracy. And surprisingly, the agentic AI system did better, not only than the doctor, but the doctor plus agentic AI, right? So the reason for that was because the doctor was not using the agentic AI so in the right manner. They were not taking the feedbacks where they were supposed to. So that's where, why when we are talking about human in the loops, it's equally important from a behavioral science perspective how to make it happen, how to ensure that humans and machines, and in this case human and agentic AI, will work together. So I think that for me is a key lesson. Then from a behavioral science perspective, you need to tackle it. I strongly believe that if not integrated well, humans are bottleneck, and if integrated well, humans in agentic AI are enablers. So we want humans to be enablers and not bottlenecks. That's where this is a key lesson that we have learned.
Awesome. So Priti, based on your experience so far, if you can share some of your lessons learned.
Yeah, sure. I think many of the points are already covered by by Rishi, Ricky, and Ashok already. What I would just say is we are doing agentic AI, but we have not yet done at scale. We are uncovering new scaling challenges every day. So what I would share is, I think one more guardrail, as Ashok was also mentioning, there are a few guardrails which we have put in place just so that we can overcome these challenges. I'll quickly talk about one of them. Like, we have a continuous real-time monitoring with automated alerts, and we have set our risk thresholds for each of them. So we get our triggers as to where we have to get involved, or maybe have some predictions out of it and take action accordingly. So I think that's my quick 2 cents here. Over to you, Mr.
Awesome, Preeti. So I think, to me, while listening to answers or the points which you guys made in the three questions, I think three themes came out pretty well. Number one is we need to build a strong foundation by using secure, flexible platforms, right? The second theme is about designing for real impact. We need to plan for change management. We have to align with the business goal, and we have to ensure that the system can scale. And the third point, which I think just now all of you made this discussion or made this point, that we need to scale with trust, right? We need to ensure transparency. We need to have a safety, and then the explainability part, which Ashok mentioned. So I think these are the three takeaways what I have based on this session. So I think, thank you everyone. It was a great, engaging, and insightful session. I hope the audience have taken away some valuable insight from this. So you guys have a good day.
Thank you all.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you,
Everybody.
Mr.
Good
Thanks,
day.
everyone.